Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Alex on Board Games. My name is Alex and here I talk about board games, what I like, what I don't like, top 50s, lists, all this kind of stuff, playthroughs, and I'll see how it goes. Welcome to episode number 1. Now I wanted to start with my top 50, which I'm calling Alex's Nifty Top 50. That is right, Alex's Nifty Top 50. That is what we are doing today. I'm doing this so in 1 year's time I can look back and see how my interests have changed and how the different types of game I've changed. But of course, if we're going to do a top 50 and today is number 50 down to number 41, the first thing we're going to do is have a quick bit of explaining. Number 1, all people's top 50s are different and that is cool. Number 2, I haven't played all of the games. I've played all the games in my list, but I've not played all the games that have ever been done. So when a game is not in my list, the reason is either I haven't played it or I haven't played it enough to know whether it's in my top 50 yet, or I have played it and I didn't like it enough to put it in there. Whoa! Man, I love playing games. So, my name is Alex and here is my Alex's Nifty Top 50. The first number, so number 50 in Alex's Nifty Top 50 is Ready, Set, Bet. Now, Ready, Set, Bet is a really cool, real-time horse racing game where you are rolling the dice to move these horses forward, or usually a games master would be doing that. You can do it via an app, and everyone is in real time betting. So if if 4 has been rolled a few times and number 4 is doing well, people can start putting their bets on 4, but then another horse might come back, but you've only got a certain number of bets you're allowed to place. So do you look at who's doing well early and get your bets down, or do you wait until later to see who's doing well? But each horse and there's only a certain number of betting places. So say you've waited and other people have taken the bets that you wanted to take. So you've got to judge whether you get in there early to make the bet that you want to make or wait until later to be certain that bet's going to come through. There are special bets. You can bet on horses to win or to come in the top 2 or 3 or to show. You can bet on horses to beat other horses. You might say number 7 is going to come higher up than number 4 and you'll get certain odds to get money back. At the end of 3 rounds, end of 3 races, whoever has the most money through their bets wins. You can get a whole crowd around a table at a convention or at a family event and people are just shouting, go on number 7, go on number 7. And you roll a 12 and then you roll another 12, which allows that 12 to go jump even further forwards. And the outside horses go further forwards every time they're rolled, whereas the inside horses, the more popular numbers, a slower progress, but they get rolled more often. And everyone is shouting, and you might get, and every round you get a special ability that might suddenly be yours. You might get extra money when a 12 is rolled, or you might be able to carry on after the red line. And the red line, once 3 horses pass that red line that you can see in the picture, no one else is allowed to lay bets, and therefore you've got to time your bets to make sure they're in time. Oh, it is a fun, energetic, people shouting, people calling out game. Really good fun. Ready, Set, Bet. Year 2022. Designer Jean D. Claire. Great game. I really like Ready, Set, Bet. So that is the first one. That is number 50. Now we're going on to number 49 in Alex's Nifty Top 50. Number 49. Kites. Kites is a game I've really enjoyed playing with my son. My son is 12. We got this when he was about 10. Designed by Kevin Hamano. 2022 release. In this game, you have a series of egg timers, sand timers, and you are the whole point of this one is you're keeping a kite's display alive. You're professional kite displayers, and you've got to keep the kites in the air. And the way you know if they're in the air is if there is still sand in the timers. So when one of the timers is running out, you've got to make sure it turns over to keep sand going through the timers until all the cards run out to show that you kept all the kites in the air throughout the whole cards. You lay a card, as you can see in the picture, some of the cards have got 2, some of the cards have got 1 colour on them, and you have to turn over those sand timers. The sand timers have different speeds. The red one only lasts 15 seconds, whereas the orange one lasts 30 seconds, then 45 seconds, 1 minute, and 1 minute 15 seconds. So you can leave purple for a while because it won't come out for a while, but you might have purple cards. You've got to get rid of them, so you might choose when to turn it. The white one is the overall timer, can never run out, but hasn't got a card. So every time you lay a card of only 1 colour, turn the white. And once you've done this as a 2-player game, I reckon it's fairly simple and reasonable. We've done it quite a few times. Once you add 3 players, 4 players, it's like someone needs to turn the red, but I haven't got any red cards, and it gets very frantic and very fun. Kites is a really solid, fun game where you can play it with families and play it with people. It's a really interactive game. You can then make it harder because you add cards in, like storms where they all get turned over, or wires crossed where you've got to swap cards with people next to you, or aeroplanes going overhead where no one's allowed to talk until it's gone round the table once. And it just, it adds and increases difficulty doing that. Kites, really good, fun, family game. And a lot of my games are games that I play with my son, or games that I play with my family, and games I play with in-laws and things like this. And so it's really important to play those games. I don't tend to play too much of the really heavy games because I don't have those people. I tend to play the family games, which I really enjoy and love playing. Now, number 48 is Dominion, the OG deck building game, the original deck building game with a zillion expansions. I don't have them. I only play the original, and I play this one live, and I play it on its own app. It's got brought out a new app. I can't believe a game from 2008 that is so important in the industry took so long to get an app, but the app's brilliant. You start off for deck building. For those who don't know much about deck building, you start off with normal cards, fairly rubbish cards, very low power cards, and then during the game you use those to buy better cards. You might get cards that allow you to get rid of the bad ones, so you've only got the good ones. All your cards go into a discard pile and get reshuffled, so every round you're drawing up cards that you've bought as well as your original cards, and you improve your hand as you're going until your hand is so strong that you can do lots and lots and lots of actions. At the beginning you might just play one or two things, but by the end you're doing this card does this, which gets me this, which buys me this, which gets me this, which gets me this, and then there's a victory point where a certain piles have run out, and whoever has the most prestige at that point, whoever has the most provinces at that point, kind of wins the game. And so it's all about building your engine, building your deck of cards to the point where it's very strong and you're doing a load of cool stuff. Dominion is the original that did this. There's been a load of games since, but sometimes games that just change an industry, or games that bring in a dynamic that made people step up and listen should be really listened to. So now my number 48, Donald Vaccarino, year 2008, it is Dominion. Now number 47. This, I think, is my only game of this type. I don't tend to play games with lots of miniatures and Warhammer style things. However, there is one, and that is Blood Bowl. American football with orcs, or dwarfs, or humans, or lizard men, or whichever team that you've bought and you have. I tend to just play with the humans versus the orcs, the original. This is 1986, so this is a solid old game with various iterations and versions since. I was in a league many years ago. So in Blood Bowl, you're effectively playing American football, rolling dice to see whether you can catch the ball, or whether you can run with the ball, or whether you can get away from an opponent, or whether you can throw the ball to an opponent, and whether he then catches it and turns and runs to the end zone. But at the same time, the defensive team is rolling their dice to see whether they can knock you down. Whether you can go to any man on the whole board and roll dice to see whether you knock him down, and whether you can knock him out or even kill him. And then you can but it can backfire on you at the same time. And you play until you fail something, at which point the other team then takes over and can run with the ball if they have it, or try and get the ball off you if they don't. You can play this as a one-off game. You can play a campaign. You can join leagues. There are whole leagues of Blood Bowl leagues and things like this to join. Really solid fun. I like Blood Bowl. It's just, if you like sport and you like board games, it is a great mix. And games that are still being played as much as this one is, after being invented in 1986, shows that it's got longevity, and it's a really great game. So that was number 47. That was Blood Bowl. Now, number 46. This has become an absolute industry kind of like normal game. Everyone seems to know this game. Sometimes when I'm doing games, I choose to keep a whole series as one, and this is at a time. This is the first one. This is Azul. I'm counting all Azuls within this series bracket. However, the one I own is the original Azul, but there are many versions of it. Stained glass of Sintra and various things, and chocolate ones and interesting ones, and lots of difference. Basically, Azul is a whole load of tiles get laid out in the middle, and you, on your turn, take one set of tiles to add them to your board to create the best mosaic that you can create. And then every round, all these tiles get replaced. But the ones you don't take go into a central pool, so other people can take all of one colour from one disc or all of one colour from a central pool. First person to do that, anything you can't fit on your board is negative points. You don't really want negative points, but that's okay. Sometimes you take the negative points on purpose because you know it's going to get you something better later, and you build the best mosaic over a series that you can. It's abstract, it is simple. Once you've played it for 5 minutes, you know exactly what you're doing and how it works and how the game works. Really great game. Lots of people know it. It's an industry standard game, and I really like playing it. So that is number 46. That was Azul. Now, number 45 is a newish game to me. I've only played it a few times. I got it from a charity shop for £10, which I believe is a big bargain in the world, and that is Onitama. I like chess-like games. There's a lovely game called Zenzu, which is very chess-like I've played as well, but Onitama is a chess-like game where your mission is to get your person to the other side of the board onto a certain square, or to stop that person by taking him by using very specific movement patterns. You have a series of animals. In each game, only these animals exist, and they swap between the two players, and you can only move in specific ways. So it might be that on this time you are going to use the crane, which allows you to move one forwards or one back and one to the side. It might be that you're using the mantis, which allows you this type of movement. And you just move the parts in the exact movement they're allowed to try and beat the enemy. I think the way this works, it's so simple. And I like this game. Chess can take hours or days, especially if you don't really know what you're doing. Whereas this game, you can win or lose in 5 minutes, and then you just go, right, let's go again, let's go again, let's go again. So it's one of those chess abstract style games, but instead of it just taking ages and ages and ages, it just means, yes, I did that well and I won, let's play again. Or, damn it, you beat me, let's play again. Really enjoy playing Onitama. Number 44 is Seven Wonders. The original Seven Wonders, the classic Seven Wonders. Are you going to build scientifically? Do you have to keep an eye on your neighbours to see how they're doing militarily? Because you don't want to take too many minus points by being weaker than them. But is that something you want to push? Or are you going to push for points? How are you going to get your resources? If you don't make enough of a certain resource, how are you going to pay to buy that off your neighbours? All built on a drafting system where you get given 7 cards, you take 1 and you pass 6 to the next person. You look at the next 6, you take 1, you pass the 5 to the next person. So it's, will those cards come back around to you again? Is there something you want that you're going to get later? Is there something you know someone else wants that you're going to take because it's not great for you, but it would be so amazing for them, you can't let them have it in their city? Do you want to build resources? There's so many different routes you can take. As you go through the 3 ages, the cards get more expensive to buy. So you've got to have built up resources. But then again, if you're only building up resources, you're not getting the cards that are scoring you points. You might be missing out on science cards. You might be missing out on military cards. So it's always, am I building up a kind of like an engine, or am I buying the cards that are going to win me the game? Constantly making that decision. Seven Wonders, drafting game, really, really great game. There are other versions of Seven Wonders. Some will be later on in this list, but this is the original Seven Wonders. And that's number 44. So as we go on to number 43, number 43 is Hanabi. Now, Hanabi, you are Japanese firework display pyrotechnicians, and you want to create the best firework display that you can create by lining up yellow numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blue numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, green and white, and I can't remember the other colour. There are 5 colours that you are lining up as you're doing. But the biggest problem is you've got 5 cards, your teammates have each got 5 cards, but you do not know the cards that you have. You can see everyone else's cards, but not your own. The cards sit on these kind of like little plinths, and you cannot see your own. But you've got to give each other clues as to what cards they have. You might say, I'm going to tell you that these 3 cards are all 1s. And you've got to remember so in your head you're like, right, that's a 1, that's a 1, that's a 1. Then somebody might say, all of those 2, you've got 2 cards in your hand. Those 2 cards, they are blue. And you go, so you said that these 3 were 1s and these 2 are blue. And one of them was both. and therefore that is a blue number 1. So I know that I can play that to start that line. You're giving each other clues, but you've got to remember what people have told you about your 5 cards, which sounds so gloriously simple. But after a few, you're like, I cannot remember. I know I've got a white. And then someone says, that one is blue. And you're like, why are they telling me that? Are they telling me that because it's the next blue that we need and they're trying to get me to play it? Or are they telling me that just because they wanted me to know for future that that was a blue and I could find out more information later? You never know why people are telling you. If you play this game on BGA, it keeps the numbers and the colours of what you've been clued. So it's easier to play because you don't have to sit there and remember exactly what you've been told at all times. And I do think that's cheating. But when you're playing live, you're sitting there and you're just trying to remember what you've been told. And you get it where 2 people are sitting there going, you know what to play? And you're sitting there going, I absolutely don't know what to play. I can't remember what I had for breakfast, let alone which one of these is a red 4. I like it. Hanabi, hidden information, fun game. And number 43 is, Hanabi was 43. I can't even remember my numbers. So we are now on to number 42. 42 is Acropolis. I really, really think Acropolis is super. On BGA, I've got an ELO of 300. Oh, aren't I posh? Not really. Now, Acropolis is a game where you're building up your city. You're building up your Acropolis. And as you build up your Acropolis, there are 5 different colours of tiles, and they each score differently. And so you want to have your yellow tiles not touching any other yellow tiles because they're commerce. They don't want the competition. Your green tiles can go anywhere because they're lovely fields. Your blue tiles are residential areas and you want to have a bigger residential area as possible. Your red tiles are your military bases. They need to be on the outside of your city to make sure no one else is invading your city. And your purple tiles are churches, religious parts of your city where you want them enclosed so they can get as many people into the church as you can. But that's not the only thing. There are also these stars on them, these plazas. You have to have those because nothing scores unless you also have these starred ones in your city visible as well. So you're collecting stars to allow you to score points and tiles to then create your city to score your points. But at the same time, the higher you build, you can put tiles on top of tiles. You can build tiles up on top of tiles, as you can see in the picture. Some are on top of others. What that does is that if it's on level 1, it's a 1 point. If it's on level 2, 2 points. Level 3, 3 points. The higher you build it, the higher points you get for it. But you've got to cover stuff up to build upwards. So you might think, you know what, that yellow is not doing much for me. So I'm going to build up on top of it to have a high scoring different colour that I've got more stars on. You might say, I've got purple there, but no purple stars, so I can build up on it. And so you're building upwards as well as outwards. But at the same time, you need to buy certain tiles. In each round, a row of tiles exists, and you've got to pick one. If you've got no stone, you only get the first one, no choice of tile. How do you get stone? By covering up white tiles. So at different times, you're covering up white on purpose just to get stone to allow you to buy a better selection of tiles later. This is such a wonderful puzzle. I love sitting there trying to make my city look the best that my city, my Acropolis, can look. Sometimes I've gone for big, sprawling, one-level Acropolisi. I don't know. Sometimes I've gone for really tight but high building. You know, when you get to a level 3, you're like, I built a level 3. Some people get to level 4. I'm like, how do you build that and organise it and not lose all your points? And then you bring in, that's just a basic game. And then there are variants where blues score double when you get 20. Yellows score double if they're next to stars. Red score double if they've got 3 faces on the outside. It's just, I love this game. I love playing Acropolis. Since I made this list, I've played it quite a few more times, and it should probably be a bit higher. I think I've been a bit harsh on Acropolis down in 42, but I'm sure it will forgive me one day. And the last one for today in number 41 is Can't Stop. Another game that I play a lot with my son, and as you can see on these pictures, we don't even have Can't Stop, and he and his grandma designed and drew out their own version of Can't Stop using a piece of paper, different colours and different coloured buttons and some dice that we had. So we have our own version of Can't Stop. In Can't Stop, you roll 4 dice. You must split them into 2. So you've got 2 different numbers and you can move up on those 2 tracks. But once on your turn, you're moving up 3 different tracks. You might be moving up 4, 7 and 9. If you roll the dice and you can't make a 4 or a 7 or a 9, you lose all your progress. The whole point of this game is, do you take the risk to try and move up your progress tracks again, or do you stop, save your progress and allow other people to then have their turns? If you carry on up, you can win the game really quickly. But as soon as you make a mistake, you lose all your progress that you got up to your previous save point, and you're done. You know, it's called Can't Stop, and you can't stop. You will at times just go, I'm going to try one more. If you're on what I call the train, 6, 7 and 8, the main ones, they're the ones that roll more often. I'm rolling for 6, 7, 8. I'm just going to keep going until I get one to the top, and I'm near the top, and I think, there's one more roll in this, and I roll 1, 1 and 2 and 2, and I'm like, I cannot make 6 or 7 or 8 in here. And suddenly I lose all my progress. Oh, it is a sad times. But there are other times when you get all the way to the top and you're like, yes! Oh, I did it all in one. Don't I look like the cool one? Can't stop. And literally, not even figuratively, literally when you're playing it, you can't stop until you roll one too many times and you're forced to stop by the evil rules. Who makes rules? Can't stop. So what did we have today? We had, let me find out over here. We had Ready, Set, Bet, Kites, Dominion, Blood Bowl, Azul, Onitama, 7 Wonders, Hanabi, Acropolis, and Can't Stop. My numbers 50 down to 41. Next video will be 40 down to 31. If you've enjoyed this content, if you think, oh, this guy seems all right, I would love you to subscribe. This has been video number 1. Please subscribe, please follow Alex on Board Games as we have all the fun. And welcome to Alex's Nifty Top 50. Thank you very much.